This one's going to start with Carolyn. Will you commit to working with municipal government to bring the Highway 404 link? And what would you do to get your government to start work on it? Will you propose for it to be included in the 2019 budget for Ontario?
Thank you. That, I think, is probably the most important facing Bradford, West Gwillimbury. It's the question I get the most. I'm sure it's the question we all get the most. And I certainly will advocate for the building of the connecting link. I note that it was a PC government that had the environmental assessment conducted and it was approved. And it was a Liberal government that removed it. It is essential that we do more than just include it in plans, but that we also include the funds required to get it built. So while it is currently in the Greater Golden Horseshoe Plan, it was just put in, it is not on Infrastructure Ontario's list of funded programs. And so I will certainly work very hard to advocate for this. It's the #1 infrastructure priority in BWG, and it is something that I commit to doing as MPP for York Simcoe.
Thank you.
Hi, yes, definitely I will. I will advocate for the construction of the link. You need this to be able to transport goods and people across, which is it's been a problem for a very long time. And I realize that people need this for a long time, so yes, I would advocate and commit to build this highway.
Thank you.
I would definitely agitate for the construction of that highway. I've been a resident of Bradford, a property owner in Bradford, and a property owner in Barrie, as well as the Newmarket area and Sutton area. And I know the difficulties in traveling from Barrie into all of these regions without that highway. That highway will add certainly employment opportunities for many, many people going both ways. And I think it definitely should be done. And I would strongly support it.
Sir, is it possible for the candidates to stand up because we can't see them when we're seated?
Absolutely. The request from the floor, unsolicited, is that you guys all stand. So, pleased to accommodate that. I do congratulate the members of Bradford Town Council for their excellent lobbying work and making sure that we all know the importance of this issue to the town of Bradford. I also can assure you that as a member of Georgina Council for 3 terms, while I was served as Ward 3 representative, we also see in that side of the water the need for the linkage between the 400 and the 404. Those are the only major highways we have in the province, 400 series highways, that go such a great distance without a firm link between them. In order to facilitate the growth in employment lands on both sides of the bay, we need that linkage to carry on. And I totally support that for that reason, as well as to take a lot of the traffic pressure off the town of Bradford in itself. Right now, people driving here tonight realize how difficult it is sometimes to get in here when people are using the street just as they're accessing the 400.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is a great question. This is something that most of you know I've been advocating for about 5 years now. And I'm very pleased to have worked with Mayor Keffer and the members of the BWG Council to connect them with people in government that can make this happen. And we've been successful in getting it put on the growth plan, which I think it shows the effectiveness of knowing how to work in government, and that comes with years of experience. I've worked with the Mayor and Council on this because I sit in that same traffic that you do and have for years. Whenever I have to get from EG to Bradford, we sit on Highway 11 or on Green Lane, and I know firsthand how badly we need that. And I think it's very rich coming from my colleague to the left about how important this is when she didn't weigh in on it until half an hour before the debate. And I'm very disappointed in that because that's something when I hear Doug Ford saying cuts, 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 I was hoping that the local candidate would stand up for the local municipality and say, no, we need to invest. We need to invest in our growing communities. And one of the things we need is that link. Thank you.
I'm sensing a 1-minute rebuttal.
Well, thank you. Does it work? Oh, thanks. Oh, yes. Yes, well, I've had the opportunity to express how important this is to me as a candidate, to members of council and members of the community many, many times. I just put it on Facebook, but it's something I've been able to do face to face with people for some time now. I think that it's clear that the Liberal government has had 15 years to make this a priority. It has been a priority for this area now for almost 3 decades. And so while the Liberals have been in office for 15 years, they took it off the plan when after the PC government put it back on in 2002. So the Liberals chose to remove it, and only just a few short months before an election put it back on the growth plan. But it's not the same as putting in the capital plan because it doesn't have the funding associated with it. And so that is what I will advocate for. As part of a PC government, I will advocate as the MPP for this riding to make sure that not only does it stay in the plan, but it's in the capital plan.
Dave?
But there is a heavy irony with the announcement by your leader today, Doug Ford, that they're going to cut the road tax on gasoline to cut the feet under any projects that anyone can propose for developing new roads and new infrastructure. Not only cripple municipalities who depend upon the road tax transfer portion to support local infrastructure, bridges, roads, etc. You can't cut all infrastructure spending and all funding for roads and then say, we might be able to build this one. We don't want a cow path connecting 400 and 404. We need a 4-lane highway.
I'd like to jump in on that road tax. As far as I know, CAA was fighting with the government about 6 years ago, so that the road tax that's included in the gasoline to be applied to roads and not used for something else. Can you guarantee you it's not going to be happening?
That's yours.
Yeah, I can't respond.
Sorry, David.
Yeah, no. So I thought the rules were.
You're right. Who's got their phone on?
Thank you.
It's okay. I'm sure that Doug Van Luke will pay your $25 fee for that one. Go ahead, sir.
You know, we can talk about committees after committee and plan after plan after plan, but in reality what we need is someone who's going to stand up in the legislature and ask the embarrassing questions and to ensure that that highway link is at the top of the priority, because I'm quite sure that over the next 4 years of any government that there won't be a stoppage in road construction. It'll continue, and this particular stretch of highway has got to get to the top of the list, and for that you need someone who's going to be prepared to fight. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that it shows a lack of understanding of the history here to wonder why it wasn't on the plan earlier. East Gwillimbury, part of York Simcoe, was opposed to it, and that's why the government wasn't proceeding. It wasn't until BWG and EG both formed a partnership to advocate for this, that the government saw that it was both sides of the community wanted it. We had a number of people in EG who were afraid of the land that it would go over, and were very concerned about that, and there was a number of environmental assessments that went into it. So that's the history, and that's why it's important to have someone from here who understands the history of this. And the other thing that I want to say is I've spoken to my leader about it. I've been advocating as a candidate for this, for my community, and I would wonder, Caroline, if you have been talking to Doug about this, because the messages that are coming out of him are cutting infrastructure, and it doesn't sound like he would put this on his plan.
Thank you.